So this is the video 1 of 3, which is going to be how to create your own simple platformer game on Flowlabs. Now, there is a introduction video which I've done, which is basically going to be talking about the whole 3 videos. So if you haven't watched that, or if you're interested, it's basically there. It should be there in the playlist. So the first one is, create an account. It's all free for you to do. And you want to go to My Games, and then you want to go to New Game. Now, hopefully, you've also done the tutorial, which should take you through most of this. So I'm not going to kind of repeat myself a little bit. So there is a Flowlab tutorial here, which I'm not going to do. We're going to go to Empty Project, okay? So the first thing you'll be shown to is basically this. Again, I have said this in the introduction video, but I will say it again here, just because I think it's quite important. If you are planning to sort of follow along with this, I'd highly recommend you do it on a laptop or a computer, just because when I did this workshop, which ran for 6 weeks, which all the students quite liked it. There were a few who used tablets and phones, and while they could kind of access it, because it is all on the browser, you don't have to download anything. It didn't really work so much. I really apologize if you hear like a little squeak. It's not a little mouse, it's just my desk. For some reason, it's squeaking today. Anyway, let's have a little look, okay? So you've got this thing here. This is going to be your, this is basically your level. So you can kind of move the mouse around and everything. This is your view area, okay? So again, I don't know if they kind of explain that, but this is basically your view area. So however big this is what you're going to be shown when you actually play the game, when you click play here. So first of all, let's go to settings and see what you want to do. Now, obviously you can name the game and stuff like that. I'm just going to keep, I can call it GoConnect New Game. Okay. But you really can call it whatever you want. Then you've got the width and the height. Okay. So again, this is basically going to be showing the view area, okay, of your game. So you kind of want to keep this, it's going to be consistent throughout all your different levels, right? So I've made it a little bit bigger, but it's entirely up to you. I mean, if you want, you could really have a very sort of narrow type game if you want, but let's just keep it like that for now. Gravity, as you can imagine, is what's pushing you down. So Y is what's going to be going up and down, okay? And X is going left and right, okay? So gravity at the moment is 45, so that's basically the force that's going to be pushing you down. If you want it to be minus, I mean, I guess you can have it minus. I don't think there'd be any reason. Yeah, so you can have minus 10 or minus 11, and whatever you have that's affected by gravity is going to go up. All right. So again, your game might you might want to have that in your game, and at the same time, you can have that to go gravity X. And that's going to be pushing you right, okay? Because if you imagine in the top left-hand corner here, it's 2 zeros, all right? Just imagine there's 2 zeros. In fact, I think that actually tells you, yeah, see there's 2 zeros here? So as I go up, you see -1, -2. So that's basically how everything that goes up. And then plus goes down, all right? And if I go right, yeah, it's going to go up, see? 16, 20, or whatever. And I go left, it's going to go minus, okay? So keep that in mind here. So I want that to be 0, and I want that to be 45. Again, you can just have it to whatever you want. So there you go. That's our actual view area. Now I can put stuff outside this view area, and it'll be fine because we're going to get the camera to move with us. Again, this is all shown in the tutorial, but we'll be going through it again. So the first thing we want to do is create the ground. Okay. So what we're going to do is click anywhere here, go to create, and you'll have like your sprite here. You can change this to ground, it's fine. Do that. Edit the sprite, click on this. And what's really good about Flowlabs is that there's a bunch of preset sprites already here. If you don't know what a sprite is, this is a sprite. It's just basically one of the aspects, one of the elements in the game. Okay. So I'm going to click on Browse, go to My Sprites, go to Blocks. Again, you have to kind of forgive me if I go back and forth a little bit, because it's been a while since I've done the first, like I did do it. I did this over 6 weeks. And I just have to remind myself because obviously I did this in the first 2 weeks when I did it. Anyway, so yeah, got the blocks and I just picked the first one because that's what I want, right? But you can literally click whatever you want. So I'm going to click on that. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to click OK. And there you go. There's a block and I can kind of click it and move it around. Before I go on, I will say this. Flowlabs is not perfect. Flowlabs likes to mess up and it likes to kind of not necessarily crash. I haven't seen it crash, but it does sometimes work sometimes, and then it doesn't work in some of the other aspects. So if that ever happens, and hopefully it's not like a continuous bug, go to play, okay, and then go back to edit game, all right? It kind of just saves the game. I found that it kind of resets it a little bit. Anyway, back to kind of completing the game. So we've got a block here, but we kind of want to make a level, right? So let's do that. So let's go to clone, and now I've got another block here, and I can basically drag now. I can make my little level here, and I'll put it up to there. I don't really and I can't really move. If I do this and try to move it, see I'm clicking, it's not going to let me do it. I have to go to done, yeah, and then I can basically click on this, and then I'm hitting backspace here, okay? Again, I think they showed this in the tutorial, but you never actually said it. So I can hold down backspace, and it will delete it for me, okay? Or I'll click it. I'm clicking it each time. Right, okay. There you go. So you've got that bit there, and I'm just dragging across here. Let's do a few little more. Why not? Let's put like here, here, and then here. Okay. And that's going to be the end of our game. Put down there. Yeah, that's cool. Excuse me. Right. Okay. So we've got our well, very, very simple start of our game, right? Let's do a little bit more because that's a little bit boring. So I'm going to go over here, click on create, and now I just want a normal block. So I'm going to call it a ground block because it doesn't really matter. I would always recommend naming the type. You don't necessarily have to always name the well, the object. That's the number of objects in the game, okay? So at the moment, 76 is the object, right? You kind of all want to do type because this is all going to share the same behaviors, which again, we'll go on to in a little bit. But yeah, you kind of always want to kind of name that if you can help it. If it's something that you'll probably never ever touch and never ever link, then sure, you don't have to. But it is always quite good practice to name it. So let's go to edit. Browse, let's go to blocks. Let's do that one. Doesn't matter. That's fine. But again, there's loads here. What's really good as well, if you saw there, it went when I clicked browse, it automatically went to my sprites and it's appeared there. This will automatically kind of go back to your sprites that you've already done in your library. And again, I'll show that in a minute. Just for a quick selection, so it's really good. So let's go to OK. And there you go. There's our little block there. Again, we'll just want to clone this. So click it, clone. Let's just make a simple little thing here. Boom, 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 boom. Right. Click on done. Move this across. Let's make a bit more. This time we'll actually go through library. So I want to use that same block again. Go to library. I can click on ground block and go add to level. And there you go. It's there. So let's do this. Let's do that. Put that there. There we go. It's probably very similar to the tutorial one. Let's add a few little more elements and then we'll kind of move on because again, I just want to kind of show the basics of this actual platform. Let's go to create. I'm not going to name this one because I don't think I'm ever going to link to it. Like I said, it is quite good practice, but for the purposes of here, there's no need. So I'm going to go to blocks. I'm going to have a look. I don't know if it's here. Yeah, it is here. Okay, so I'm going to click on this one. Okay. I mean, I should actually just call this lock because it is a lock. And I'm going to clone it. Few here, go down. And then I'm going to clone this one. That's going to go down here. Okay, that's all done, right? So we've basically got a very, very simple game where when we create a character, we're going to start here, we're going to go over here, and then we're going to end here. Okay, right. Right, so at the moment, we're working on the game layout, right? Now you can work on the background, okay? So anything you put here will be in the background. And you can work on the user interface. Now, keep in mind that I can't move anything around when I'm clicking on the user interface. We will be going on to user interface in a bit, but for now, we'll just focus onto the game world, right? Okay, so let's look at the game levels. And this here is our background. So at the moment it's white. Let's do a nice blue. Just click on here. So make sure you click on the circle first and then inside. Click OK. There you go. So we've got our blue background, and we've got our endpoint here, which we kind of want. Always try to have a plan when you're making your game. If you're kind of just playing around, fair enough, it doesn't really matter. But if you actually want to make a game, try to do it in steps. While Flowlabs is really, really good at, well, getting your ideas from inside your head onto the computer on a piece of paper, as it were, it doesn't sort of make it easier for you sometimes. So you really kind of have to think of it like a baby. Like you need to go 5 steps to the left or to the right in order to move and stuff like that for your character. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So okay, we've got a blue background and we've got a very, very simple first level platform, all right? So I think what the first thing we need to do is create our character. So again, we'll go here, we go to create. We're going to call this player because that's what it is, player. Go to edit sprites. And what's really good, again, you have a set of characters here. So we go to characters. And I think just because it'd be a little bit different, I've always used the characters here, and I have used a cat in my tutorial, but for this, we're going to be using a dog. So we'll just use this little dog here, little husky. There you go. Okay. So we've got that. If I click on play, nothing's going to happen. I'm pressing left or right or WSD, nothing's going to happen. But it's the basics of a game because we need to do some behaviors on it. Okay. So make sure we click on the our dog or our player. Click to edit. Go to physics. And we need to make sure that it is movable. Now, here it says affected by gravity. If I click on this, it wouldn't be affected by this first number that I first went on to, okay? So you want to make that sure is there. If anything is moving in the game, you want to make sure it's movable, okay? You know, our character, we're going to be moving, so we want to do that. And of course, if you want to enable rotation, you do that, but it is normally selected off. Again, I wouldn't say I'm an expert in this platform, not by a long shot. If you kind of want more advanced advice, you know, there's a good forum there that you can ask a lot of questions and stuff like that, and there are other videos on YouTube, but again, I just thought I'll go through the basics again on this just because I thought it'd be quite useful. Anyway, so you got solid because it is solid. All of this is solid as well because we don't really want to pass through it. If we do want to pass through it, we would click not solid. Okay, and this one is just a colliding shape as well. Just, yeah, it's fine, just do that circle. The forward direction, it's always defaulted as right. Okay, so again, there are some behaviors where it says go forward, and if it's right, well, you'd be going right, wouldn't you? If you set the forward direction as up and you want to go forward, it'd be going up. Again, if you go on a kind of like a top-down, like shooting spaceship kind of game, and you want forward to be up, then probably be advisable to click on that. Density, obviously, you know how dense it is. Bounce, obviously how high it's going to go up and down if you do the bounce mechanic. Friction, obviously how far and how much it's going to stop, you know, before it goes. I'm not going to explain that because, well, density, bounce and friction, if you don't know what they are and you're already on this bit, I would highly, you know, I'd probably recommend you go to Google and sort of understand what these words mean. But yeah, anyway, so we go to OK. Now, if I click on this here, move him a little bit up and go play, it's going to drop down because he's affected by gravity, right? But we don't want him to just kind of jump down each time. We kind of want him to like not fall each time because he's a cute dog and stuff like that, right? Okay, cool. Let's do some mechanics now and get this dog sorted. So we go to edit, go to behaviors. Now, there is if you go to, where is it? I always get confused on this because I always, here we go, behavior bundles. Now, there is already a run and jump mechanic, okay? So if I click on that and click on run and jump, yeah, and go click OK, and then I click play, now if I go left and right, it's already automatically going to work. However, that's just there in order to make your life easier, because there's sometimes you just want the character to go left and right, up and down, like a platformer. Yeah, but I think it's quite important to understand why that's happening, okay? So I'll tell you what, we won't take this away, but we will go through it because I do think it's important, okay? So you can create this yourself, but let's just go through why things are happening. What's really good in Flowlab, so what you can do is actually just click on that, go to Open Bundle, and you'll see all of this, okay? So yeah, you'll see all these triggers here. Oops, sorry, click on delete that. You'll see all these triggers. This always happens once. This is a time a mouse click, you know, once a keyboard is pressed, controllers press, collision. Then you've got logic and maths, components, properties, all these other stuff. You can click on play, and then when I go left and right, you'll see things activated here. And that's what's really important with Flowlabs and how to learn. And I think that's really important. So let's go through it. So it starts off there, right? So once the keyboard is pressed left, okay, so you can click on this and you can actually change it, yeah? Change the key, you know, I can press it, I can put it, let's do D, yeah? Because we're gonna use W, S, and D, okay? So repeating, obviously, because we always want repeating, we don't want any delay. And then we want keyboard, we want A, yeah? Because we want left and right, and then up is gonna be W, okay? Now we don't want repeating on that because we don't want continuously want to go up, right? So once D is pressed down, we want to get this number, -6, because remember what I said at the start, we want to kind of go to the left because there's 2 zeros in this top left-hand corner here, right? So we want to go -6. Again, this is just the speed. If you want to increase this, you know, make it go faster, you can just increase these numbers, okay? So let's just do 10. It's obviously going to go a little bit faster, right? Oh, and I've just jumped off the edge because literally what happened is I messed up and I pressed D to go left and A to go right. And what happened, my character went here and then dropped to the abyss. All right, so we don't want that. So let's go back into edit. Let's change that. So let's change that to A and then that to D. Okay, and now let's just move this across. And what's really good is you can click play and then obviously you can see these light up. And now you'll see it. And he's moving pretty quick, okay, like really quick. So I'm gonna not do this so quick. We'll put this back to 6, okay? So down to 6, right. Okay, so this is just a number. So we're getting this in, so the first thing, this is a trigger. So we'll be getting that in here. So keyboard, all right? And then we're just linking things up. And then we'll be getting these numbers here, which is in number, okay? So we're going to delete that. And what's really good is you can, if you click over a line, you can delete it, okay? And then you can just connect them again if you want, right? Obviously, get is getting this number, set is setting a number for something else, and plus is, you know, you're adding to a number, okay? But we're going to be going through some of that anyway from, you know, as we do this level. So let's do this. You'll see these light up. So I'm pressing D now, and that's going to be getting 6, which is a plus number, I guess, from 0, 0. And then we want this to go to X, you know, X is left and right. And as you can see, that happens, yeah? You also see this flip section here. And that's also because you can have multiple links to your behaviors, right? So what it's going to be doing is back. Now, back is the original flipping of the sprite. And then if I press A, it's going to flip it, yeah? We don't want to do toggle because you'll just be doing, well, I'll show you actually. I just do toggle, press play, press A there. Let's see how it kind of like goes a little bit nuts, yeah? Kind of like flipping backwards and forwards. We don't want that because it's going backwards and forward to the sprite, yeah? So what we want is back, which is, I don't know why it doesn't say original or something like that, or I guess it's got a limited space for text. So back is its original location, what it was facing before. Flip is flipping the rotation on its x-axis, or if you've determined it otherwise. And toggle obviously is going back and forwards. Sometimes you want that for your game, but for this we don't want that. So that's always going to x, because x is going left to right. Okay, cool. So we've got that. And now we want to do jump. Okay. Now jump is a little bit weird because it doesn't actually show this in the tutorial. But what I found is if you kind of follow the tutorial and you press W and you keep pressing W, you'll basically keep jumping upwards and you go up forever. So in order to combat that, you kind of need a switch. And a switch turns, well, it turns something on and off. So you basically can't keep on using it. So if we look at this, if I press W, it will get 12, right? And it will go in. So it's going into this little box here, not really doing anything at the moment. And then it's going to be going in and out. And as it goes out, it's going to be using the Y axis. So it's going to be going up, right? So if I were to connect this to this, and I'll show you, I go that and do that. You'll see it does exactly the same. Pressing Y, see there, it does that. Now, if I keep on pressing Y, as you can see, it just flies. Yeah, we don't want that. Oh. So let's go back. Go to Y, go to in. Yeah, so that goes in. Now, at the moment, it's off, right? But when I hit the ground, any collision to the, well, it says at the moment, any type. So it's collision into anything. But I can just do ground if you want it to do ground. But that's just the default it's done here. So if it collides, this sprite collides with anything, as you can see, there's a 1 here, because it's always default as 1 when it hits something. Or I think if there's no number identified, it will always be 1, I believe. Okay, so it's hitting something here because it's hitting the ground, right? At this point, it's not hitting anything, but it is. Yeah. So when it hits something, it goes to on. All right, so they're fair enough. So this switch is now on. So anything goes into this switch is going to activate. And it does, right? Because it's on. I'm going to jump. That's it. However, once I jump, not only is it going to Y, it's also going to turn itself off. So that means I can't jump twice because it's off. Do you see how it goes off the minute I jump? Okay, so I'm trying to press W, but it won't do it. Yeah. So hopefully you can understand that. It goes, the jump force is going in here and it goes directly out. So that's just basically the input and output, whatever you want to happen. You can have things linked to itself. So once it goes out and is activating, it's also going to turn itself off. So that means anything, if I press W again and go to in, it's not going to activate because, well, the switch is off. Yeah. Until I hit the ground again or hit something again. Again, if I go on to like hit this, it's going to do it. Now, there are bugs here. You can see like I'm kind of going the side there. But, you know, there's obviously better ways to do this when you get a bit more advanced. But for now, we're just going to be doing this, okay? Anyway, so we've got all of this here. That's all fine, right? Let's go stop. So hopefully that understands that. Again, this is all in the tutorial. But what we also want to do is we want the camera to follow us because if I click on play, the camera doesn't really follow us if we go off the screen, all right? I can go back, but it's not going on. That's kind of not useful. So again, we go back into our behaviors. We can put it into run and jump because why not? Yeah. Let's go to, oh, I always have to remember where I put this now. There you go, it's in component. So we go to camera. Yeah, we don't need to connect this because this is all pretty good. So click on this and it's got auto scroll left and right, okay? But we need to determine the area where we want our camera to go because while it will auto scroll to our player, we might not necessarily want it to scroll all the way because of what your game is. So we need to define that, right? So at the moment it's 14 and 11, and you can actually see that by, if I move this over here, actually scroll out by just the mouse wheel, right? See, there's a blue box here. So if I increase this box and put it to say here, there you go. I don't want it to go higher or lower because that's fine. I can't actually have it smaller than that, actually. That's interesting because I guess it's limited to the view area. But yeah, and also you can have background repeats. Again, there are other videos that kind of go through this, and I would recommend you watching these. Again, this is just going to be the very basics of the tutorial and understanding, okay? So you want to have auto X and auto Y, which is meaning, obviously it's going to be going left and right and up and down and showing you. And then you've got the blue box here, okay? So once you've gone that all disappears. Let's put this all back in. Go okay. Click on play. And now, there you go. We've got the very basics of our player, well, going. There you go. Obviously, if I go this, it's going to go into the abyss, and I can't go back. So in order to stop us going from the abyss, what we can actually do is we can actually put a ground block just outside here. Let's put it like that. Go to done. Because it's not going to be, remember, we did the boundary from this point here, so it's not going to be showing there. And again, let's just do a boundary here. Okay, oh, messed that up, haven't I? There we go. Delete this. Remember, these are solid. We go to physics, they're solid, so the character can't move through them, okay? So now if I go left and right, see, pressing A, it's not going, let me go through that. And again, if I go right to the end, yep, I'm going, boom, boom, boom. Can't go through anymore, okay? There you go. Now, we want our character to move, so let's do that, right? So click on to edit sprite, and we want to click on this little animation, well, the little sort of film icon here. Once we do that, it's going to do pick animation, but we don't have an animation, so we need to create new. And we're just going to call this walk. Does you're walking, right? Now, this is not the default. This is an animation within the sprite, okay? So if I go back here, this is our default sprite, okay? So whatever's here, when it's not playing the animation, it's going to be showing this sprite in that direction, okay? If we go to walk, it's going to be showing this animation here, right? Again, this goes through the tutorial, so I won't be going too much onto it. But if I go to browse, and go to characters, go to say, well, let's do that one. So we're just going to click on that. So you can see it kind of changes up here. We're going to click on this plus sign, which means add another frame. And then we're going to click on that one. And if I click on this little play button, there you go, little run. So it does a little run. If I want it faster, I can, well, sorry, if I want it slower, I increase the number. So it does that. And if I want it faster, I increase the delay or decrease the delay. That's way too fast. Let's keep it at 5 or whatever. Yeah, let's keep it 5. There you go. Cool. Now we need to tell Flowlabs that we want the animation to play, right? So we need to go back into our run and jump. Yeah. So we've got here, and we already want this to play when we press in A and D, right? So everything's pretty much all set up anyway. So let's go to, again, where is it? I always go through, there it's in animation. So it's in properties, yeah. Now it's already got walk selected because it's the only animation there. We want to loop the animation because we don't want it to play just those 2 frames and stop. So we want it to keep on doing that. You can have priority. Again, I haven't really played around with this, but it doesn't really matter. So once down is pressed, okay, we want to start. Yeah. And once D is pressed, we want to start, okay? So there you go. So now when I click on OK and press play, there you go. But as you can see, I'm not moving and the animation is still happening. And I don't want that, right? So how do we stop that? Well, very simple. Oh, sorry. Open my door. There's also an up button. So down is when I'm pressing the key down. Up is when I'm, well, the key is up, I guess, when I'm releasing the key. So that one we've done start. So as you can imagine, up will just be stop. There you go. You can see it starts to get a little bit complicated now, but you can kind of see. And if I press play here, you can kind of see it happening. So you'll see these 2 things light up. See how it lights up there? Just these 2 here. and my character just stops. You see how I skid a little bit as well? That's my friction, okay? So obviously the higher that will go along. So it's how long I slide for, okay? Right. So there you go. There's our character, and he moves around, and he's all happy. He's a happy dog, yeah. Right, cool. Right, now we need to have some danger for our dog, right? So let's do a create. Let's go to browse. Let's go to objects, I believe it is. I mean, you could have it so that, I mean, bone would be pretty good for health, so we'll do that in the future in a bit. So we've got some spikes here, but really you can have whatever you want. Let's do some spikes. Let's call this spike. Yeah. So what we want to do is we want this to be a danger to our character. So we want to clone where we want the danger is. This is kind of, well, it's a bit of visual stuff really, because you can't actually get through down there unless we delete one of these, I guess. Delete one of these. So you have to actually jump over that. Actually, yeah, let's move that over there. There you go. So you got to jump over that. Let's do some spikes here. So you jump over here. Maybe you have to jump here and here. Okay. Now, again, we have to kind of set this up because at the moment the game doesn't really know that the spike is dangerous. So we need to sort that out. So let's do that. Let's go to edit, behaviors. And what we need to do is a collision. Okay. So collision is what, and anytime this sprite, this particular sprite, because we're going into its behavior, collides with it. So we want to do spike. Remember, this is the importance of naming stuff, because if you just have whatever object 74, whatever it was, you won't know what it is. So we're going to go to spike. Now, any object is the number, like so it will be this particular spike. Okay. So if I actually go down here and call this, let's call this spike, I don't know, number one spike, yeah. Nothing else is going to be called number one spike because, well, it's only this one, number one spike. Yeah, number one spike. And if I wanted this particular spike just to hurt the dog and nothing else, I can go number one spike, yeah? But all the rest we don't really want. So we want to do any object, okay? So we got collision. And then, well, what do we want to happen? Well, we could just have, you could just reset the game, okay? So go to game flow. We could do reset game, but reset game will restart everything, and you don't want that. You normally want to have something where you maybe hit yourself, or you would just want to restart the level. So we just want to click on restart current. So that means restart current level. This is also useful if you want to go to the next level, or the previous level and stuff like that. And at the moment we're on level 1, which is the default, okay? So let's just do restart current. So hit the spike and it will just go to go. Oops, sorry. We'll click on play and you'll see here, restarts it, okay? So regardless of what spike we hit, it's just going to restart the level. Now that's probably maybe your game that you want, but sometimes you kind of want lives. So we need to do a bit more on that. So let's set this all up. Okay. Right. So first of all, we need some health. Let's go to GUI, go to label. Okay. And you can see label appear here because this is default, right? So we're going to change this to HP because that's just hit points, right? And then we're going to do to another label. We're going to call this, let's say, I don't know, say you've got 3 lives, okay? Now this is just a label at the moment. This doesn't really do anything, but again, I'm going to go through this. Now, when you're in this stage here, you kind of want to move things around. Let's move that there. It's a little bit faded out, but you actually go to layers and you go to user interface. You'll see how it's, you know, a little bit more bold there, and it actually, that's how bold it will be as well. Okay. Right. Let's go back into this. Let's go into now. If I move this, if I move my sprite off, see how those labels disappear because we're actually taking a sprite off because it doesn't actually know where we're going to place it, but we'll place it down here. Okay, cool. Go to behaviors. Right, so let's think about this. What do we want to happen? Once we hit a spike, we want it to go -1 health, don't we? And then once it goes to 0 health, we want to restart the current game, okay? So let's put that in. So what do we need? We need numbers, don't we? Because we want it to have 3 health. So let's think about that. So let's put a number here. Let's set this to 3, okay? So 3. And this is going to be main HP, okay? You don't have to label stuff, but again, it's quite good practice. If you're doing a lot of things, it's going to be complicated, right? So we want this to be, well, we want this to link up to value because we want this to be updated. Now, the reason why I've put 3 here is because there are, so there's a way to do this. Once the game loads, it's not going to, like I said, it's not going to do things for you. So it's going to if I put this to 0, it will be 0 there, but once I hit a spike, it's going to update. So you would want something to read this value first, okay? So normally what it says in the tutorial, put 3, but what you can actually do is, which is a little bit easier, you could do a once, get this number, and it will update this. Now if I put 0 here and press play, it should update it to 3, see? Because what happens is once, when the game starts, it's going to get the number 3 and do value, right? So I think this is probably the better way. If I put whatever number here, you know, I can put this to, well, 10, it doesn't really matter. And if I hit play, it's always going to be 3 because it's going to be doing that. If I took this off and put 10 here and press play, while it says 10 up here, really your main HP is going to be 3 because we're going to be doing a formula, an if statement on this block here, not here, okay? So you kind of want this to be your main thing. And again, hopefully maybe I haven't explained that very well, but it should make sense in a little bit, right? So make sure that once it's set up to get and the value here, we don't need to have anything here. And we need another number, which is going to be our damage, okay? So we'll just call that, yeah? And that's going to be -1, right? So what happens? We hit a spike, we get this number, and now we want it to add to this number, but because it's a minus, it's obviously going to go -3. So if I hit play, you'll see what happens. Go to a spike, it should get this number, you'll see this light up. See how it goes to 2, and now it updates. 1, 0. Obviously, I can keep on doing it or go down to 0 because we haven't set anything up. Okay. Now, if I took this off, right, and put this back to say, I don't know, 10, for example. It's 10 at the moment. I'm going to hit the spike. It's going to go down to 2 because it updated the system, this whole value before. So while you could have this set up 3 at the start because you don't really want to have this once and it's fine, it's probably quite good practice to have the once thing just because, well, that's what it's going to be reading, right? So it doesn't really matter what you put here. So let's do that. Okay. Again, like I said, it's a very simple, you know, Flowlabs. It's a good flowing how to make your game. However, it doesn't, you know, it's not going to, you have to think of it like a baby. You really do need to kind of talk through the steps, right? Anyway, so we've got the collision with the spikes. It's going to get -1, hit 3, and then it's going to update all of this. But now we want it to restart the level when it's, well, when it's 0, right? So we need to go to a filter, and that's still in logic and maths. So we go to filter here. We're going to put this in. Now, we don't want value. I don't think I've played around with that, but basically we want it to go to in, right? So go to in. And then whatever happens here, it's either going to pass or it's going to fail, right? So if it's greater than 0, yeah, which it is at the moment, it would pass, right? Because, well, that's just how it's set up. So we want to change that. So let's click on it. So we want to change this to less than, not less than 0, less than 1, because we're going in increments of 1 anyway. Any less than 1, it's going to pass, right? So once it passes, we want to go to restart the current game, right? So hopefully that makes sense. You're going to hit the spikes. This is going to go slowly down to 3, 2, 1. Once it goes to 1, any more less than 1, it will restart the game. Now you can change this to greater than, equal to 1 or whatever. I mean, you can have this equal to 0 if you really want to, and it will still do the same thing. But, you know, we'll change it to, because there's a few similar ways to do the same thing in this game, and you'll find out the more you play around with it. So let's do that. Let's move this up. Click on play. So hit the spike 2 that updates. Yeah, hasn't done equal to 0 yet. Any more it will. So do that. Equal to 0, restart the game. There you go. And again, we can do this anywhere. Let's just fill down the gap. So got 2 there. Did you see here? It didn't update. And this is one of the bugs I was talking about. See how it's not updating now? That's a really annoying feature. So in order to get to fix that, you can either go back into this sort of, you know, interface here, and then go back into here. Click on play and see if that works. Yep, that seems to work. That seems to fix it. But sometimes that doesn't. So if it does, you just go to play and resets the whole thing. So now we've kind of got a very simple platformer where, oh, okay, that's not that's not good. We need to maybe sort the dog out for that. Oh, come on. Oh, okay, I've made my game too hard. Right, let's change that a little bit, shall we? Right, let's put a block here or something. Let's do that there, and maybe that there. Actually, that's going to be too hard, because yeah, I think I've made this, because you are limited to how much you can jump. So let's delete that one. Let's delete that, and let's delete that one. I think you can jump 3, right? Let's see. If you, again, you can sort of move your character over here if you want, because if you don't want to kind of keep on testing it over there and keep on doing this bit, because this bit's fine, right? So click on play. We're over this bit. Oh my god. Okay. No. Oh my god. Yeah. Still, see, like it's not too much. So we need to kind of put a block here, maybe. So let's clone a block. Say, let's put a block there. That should work, right? There you go. So there you go. Still getting hit by the thing. Oh, what have I done there? Oh, because I've right-clicked. Right. Let's move our dog back here. Go to edit, behaviors. So we've got all this here, right? For some reason, okay, that's fine. Yeah. So let's do the last thing here, and we want to have, now, once you've done your HP, the same thing could be if you got 1 points. So again, the tutorial does stars, but it's very similar. So if you want to have something selected where you collect it, you can do that as well. But we're going to do something slightly different, and we're just going to give the dog a bone, because of course dog loves bones. So let's click on here. We'll call this bone. Edit sprite. Go to browse. Go to objects. Where's that bone? There you go. And the bone, as you can imagine, is going to give the dog health. In fact, let's clone this here, because I keep dying in my very own tutorial game. So what we want to happen, well, also we'll move this across over here actually, because we'll just do this for test purposes. So when you hit the bone, which we've already named, we want to just increase the HP, which again should be quite simple. So what do we need to do? This is our main HP, right? So this is all set up. We don't need to do anything for this, but we do need another collision, because now we want to hit the bone, right? So let's do that. So click on collision, click on bone, right? Left or right, bottom, top left, bottom right. That just means where you're actually hitting it. So if you're hitting the sprite from the top, from the left or from the bottom, that's where it triggers. Okay, so again, you can kind of do that. There's also the right repeat delay and everything. You can do that as well. Notes are really good because this gives HP and do OK. Once you click on this little thing here, see, this gives HP, gives you a little note. So again, if you have quite complex stuff, it will help you. Also, you'll have help here. You click on that, it'll click on the open a new browser, and it will go to collision. It will have everything here if you're not too sure what each one does. Again, I haven't used everything, but it does get quite complicated. So anyway, let's do this before we finish, because this video is getting quite long. So what do we want to do? We want to collide with the bone and get 1 HP, right? So let's do that. Let's go to number. Now, technically, we don't have to do this because, like I was saying, anything that kind of collides is automatically 1, right? But if it's always, again, it's quite good practice because you have a bit more control, because maybe you want the bone to give you 2 HP, right? Which, again, I guess we'll do for this example, but, you could just do 1 or whatever. So we'll just do 2 HP here. So we'll collide with the bone and we'll get this number here, and we'll add it to this number here, right? So now 3 should go to 5, right? There you go, 5. You'll see the 5 is highlighted, increased there as well. See, 3, got 5. But do you see how I keep on doing it, and basically I can like cheese the game, and basically I can be a god, a dog god, okay? So I'll never ever die unless I keep on doing this. So I could do that. So what we need to do is we need to have the bone to disappear, right? Remember, in physics, it's all solid and stuff like that. That's all fine. But we need the bone to disappear. So let's actually go into the bone physics now. So go to edit on the bone behaviors. And we need a collision, yeah? And we need to have this with the player, right? So where's the player? There you go. And we just need to have we just need it to destroy itself. So we'll go to components, destroy. And destroy just means it will destroy the sprite, okay? You can have something trigger once it's destroyed, but we're just going to have a very simple thing. So now if we click on play, boom, destroys. And now the sprite isn't there. And I've covered the number because, yeah, there you go. We'll do that again. So 3, 5, because we've got 2. There you go. Go over there. See if I can do this. There you go. 7. There you go. Oh, so bad at my own game. There you go. And we've got to the end. Boom, boom, boom. Right, we're all sorted. Right. Last little bit. Okay, let's actually move this. Let's put that over there, and we'll delete this because yeah, very good game. Right. So at the moment we've got level 1. So let's do another level. So level 2. So we go to new level. Now, the free game, the free sort of account gives you quite a lot of stuff, but you only are limited to 5 levels. 5 levels include your menu as well. So that counts as a level because you're creating everything. Everything you create here is a level, okay? So your start, your menu would be a level. Your actual game obviously would be a level, and how many sections you have in that. Also, if you have like an end screen or something like that, again, that will be a level, okay? So keep that in mind. So we do to new level, yeah. It's not going to load, but we can load it up. So level there. We've got that. We're going to keep this very, very simple, and we'll just change it around. Let's to add to level to around here. Once you level in, we'll have your dog spawn here, okay. And just to show that it changes, we're just going to make the sky sort of a pinky red color, okay. So there you go. Let's do something so that you can't actually go out of it. Okay. Now, if we go to mechanics, all my mechanics are still here. All the the boundary is still here as well. So you want to keep that in mind as well. If your levels are slightly different, you want to maybe change this or whatever, or you can change to a different character if you want. But it should be fine. You should be okay. Again, like I said, planning your game is really important. But how do you get to this level from the previous one? Well, we'll do pretty much like we did the reset. So let's go to load there. We'll create one more thing here, go to create. What should we have to go to the next level? Go to objects. Let's just do a flag. Why not? Go to OK. And we'll just call this next level. Okay. So once we hit the flag, it will go to next level. Okay. So we can have either, it's probably best to have the behavior on the dog, because you can then just kind of repeat the flags each time, or you can just repeat the flag. It's up to you. But we'll just put it on the dog because we'll put everything on the dog anyway. So behavior, right. Let's do this. Collision, yeah, with flag. So next level. And then we just want to go to game flow, next level. Click on what we want to actually do. And we actually want to go to the next level, of course. And good to go. So once we hit the flag, which is called next level, it'll go to the next level. And now we can actually play the game. There you go. And see, very, very simply, you can get your HP, you can have sort of enemies and stuff like that, which we'll be kind of going through in our next video. Oh my God, I'm so bad at my... And then hit the flag, it goes to the next level, right? Now, here, like the colors aren't so good. So what you might want to do, go to behavior. And obviously you can change the colors and stuff. You can make this white if you want. And make this bigger, or change the actual, you know, style of what it's going to be. Prime, I don't know what that is. There you go. And you can have the size as well. Make that really big. Like I said, I don't think Photopea is perfect, but again, I don't think any sort of game maker is perfect, but I think it's pretty good for what it can do. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to put a link in the description for this game, so you can actually have a look at it and see very, very simply. But yeah, it's pretty much, that's pretty much it now. So that's, we've done our very, very simple game, and hopefully I've explained some of the elements a little bit more that they've done in the tutorial. I think that what they've done in the tutorial is really, really good. And well, it's basically how I've learned, but how I've done, like, I've experimented, made mistakes, because I think for this kind of thing, you really do need to make mistakes in order to learn. I guess that's it's life, really. But yeah, what I'll do is we'll stop that here, and then for the next video, we're going to be going through the examples and seeing how you can actually go into the behaviors onto those examples and see how those elements work, and how you can kind of maybe implement some aspects or maybe all of it into your game. Okay. Yeah, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye.